In the day and age where nothing is safe from remakes, they have finally remade one of my all-time favorite obsession thrillers, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, starring Mary Elizabeth Winstead and Maika Monroe, and we're going to review it. Let's go. The Hand That Rocks the Cradle stars Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Maika Monroe, and is directed by Michelle Garza Cervera.
Emergency. Emergency.
What I want is for you to rot in hell.
What's up, guys? Welcome to a brand new 2025 review. The Hand That Rocks the Cradle is one of my all-time favorite obsession thrillers. I think Rebecca De Mornay might have one of the most underrated villainous performances that I think I have ever seen. It has stayed with me to this day. I thought that movie was like unremakeable. As far as like, I mean, yeah, you could remake it, but can you make it as good as that movie is? I think not. I think I can tell you right now, you're not going to top that movie, okay? Even if I like this movie, there's no way it's as good as the original. That's how high I hold it. It might even be one of my all-time favorite movies, okay? That's a hard list to do because I've seen thousands and thousands of movies, but anytime that movie comes up, I jump. I get giddy. I can't wait to talk about it. I love it so much. I reviewed it quite a few years back. Check out that review if you haven't seen the review for the original. And if you've never seen the original, why are you watching this? Go watch that movie right now. Jesus. Two things gave me hope about this movie. The two main actors, Maika Monroe, Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I love both of them very much. And I think they're very fine actors. Okay. And I think they could maybe give this material some justice. But it all comes down to the writing too, right? And the direction, the tone, and everything. All right. So before we get into how much I like the movie, and if you've already seen my out-of-theater reaction, you already know that I like the movie, but we're going to dig deeper into this without spoiling anything, okay? Now, the basic story here is pretty much the same as far as the original goes. A mother needing a babysitter to come in and watch her children because she has a life. Mary Elizabeth Winstead plays Claire. I believe she's a lawyer in this. And she hires Polly, played by Maika Monroe, to come in and babysit her child. But pretty early on, you can tell that there's something off about Polly. She seems sort of damaged, but like the original movie, Claire does a background check and reaches out to a previous employer of Polly, and the previous employer tells her, yeah, she's great. She's great. So she hires her, and things seem fine at first, but then the thing that's so great about this particular plot in the original and this one, the damage is being done under the current. It's not in your face. It's not a character attacking another character randomly. No, sometimes it's a psychological type thing. Sometimes it could have to do with medication, altering somebody's medication. And just the littlest things can sort of set into motion a really dark path. And that's what I love about The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. And I think they do a really fine job of doing that in this movie. And the two main actresses are really great in this. I think both of them have, very effective emotional performances. Claire does have a husband by the name of Miguel. Miguel is my biggest problem with this movie, and we'll get into that when we get into the cons, okay? But you might argue that he needs to be the way he is in order for Polly to be able to, he's constantly turning his head, not having Claire's back, but they do give reasoning for why he is. And he happens to be I guess, a weak male, right? That's what he comes across as. I complained about this recently in another review that I did for Bone Lake. The guy in that movie was just annoying the shit out of me because he was just a big wuss. Miguel is sort of the same type character. There's so many times where Claire is crying out for help from the guy, but he doesn't know if he can trust her because she is kind of going overboard. You can tell that she's not really taking her medication, or it seems like that. So he doesn't really know who to trust. So I can go 50-50 on Miguel, but I think he still should have had his wife's back. See, I've already started diving into a little bit of the cons, okay? But I don't want that to take away from This is a very effective little movie because of the two main leads. Now, there was a seduction angle in the original movie with Rebecca De Mornay, who does it flawlessly, and she is trying to seduce the husband. And because of the modern day, it can kind of go both ways. And you could have a situation where maybe Claire is bisexual. That kind of opens up the doorway for more avenues where she could actually seduce not only the husband, but also the wife, especially if the wife is having trouble with the husband, maybe in the bedroom. So I think this movie definitely ups the ante, because we see gay relationships in movies and TV now these days. And as long as it doesn't feel forced down your throat and gets in the way of the actual intention of the movie, I think it's fine. And I think they do such a fantastic job with it in this movie because it is a chess piece. They use it as a chess piece and it works. Unfortunately, there is an audience today that just because of what I just said, they're going to go in the comments and they're going to say, I'm out immediately. They're not even going to give the movie a chance. And that is the sad thing about this day and age. Luckily, I have an open mind and I can see past the current social media lens, and I just really focus on the story. One thing I do love about this movie is that it is not the original movie at all. You could sort of compare this to what they did with Suspiria. The original movie, one of my all-time favorite movies, Luca Guadagnino comes in and creates something completely different and equally effective, I would say. I think the same thing here. I don't think it's directed as well as Luca Guadagnino could do, but I do think Michelle Garza-Severa does a fine job here at creating a certain undercurrent throughout of dread. And this movie looks different than the original movie. It doesn't look like an early 90s movie. It looks like a movie of today, but with an artistic touch. It definitely has an artistic touch to it. It's not your stock cookie cutter remake that we've seen so many times. No, this one definitely has a certain quality to it. There's a certain stamp to this movie that I really liked. Even the score of this movie kind of jumped out at me because it feels like maybe like an organic type of score, not your traditional type of score. And it just fits the mood of this movie. Look, guys, I was quite surprised by how much I enjoyed this one because going into it and how much I love the original, I thought for sure this movie's got a lot of work to make me actually like it. But I think the work was done. I think it does a fine job, and it does go kind of batshit crazy in the last act. And if you're looking for like bloody violence, this isn't a slasher movie, but there's definitely violence and blood in this movie. There's some really violent scenes, actually. But I guess jumping back over to the cons, Miguel annoyed the shit out of me. Okay, this is the guy that you're going to be like screaming at. Like, what are you doing? Back up your wife, you freaking imbecile. And if I got to be honest here, there's two like main male characters in this movie, and they definitely take a backseat. But to be fair, if you look at the original, it was sort of the same way with the male characters, except for Ernie Hudson. And there's not really an Ernie Hudson type character in this movie. I think they just completely removed that whole aspect. Probably for obvious reasons. Which is sort of a shame because Ernie Hudson is just wonderful in the original movie. For sure. Also, without spoiling anything, I will say the original movie, the children, the infant and the child, they were much more important, I felt, in the original than they are in this movie. Claire does have a daughter, and she does have an important role in this movie. She is a chess piece for Polly, but it's just not as strong of a plot point in this movie than it is in the original movie. And I can't really mark that so much as a con because, again, this is trying to tell a different story. It's still Polly being a babysitter, but there's definitely some surprises that are going to unfold in the last act. But I think you're going to dig the way this movie is directed. I think you're going to really dig the performances by Mary Elizabeth Winstead and Maika Monroe. And I think it'll sit with you because it's definitely sat with me. I watched it last night and it's still kind of sitting with me. But I'm looking forward for you guys to checking this out. It comes out tomorrow on Hulu. So let me know what you guys think of it in the comments. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Also, subscribe to Drumdums Xtra, my second channel, if you haven't. That's where I cover a lot of other horror material like live stream clips, whatnot. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day. And on Fridays, we do Free For All Fridays. Follow me on Patreon, become a channel member. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Drumdum out.